Job interviews used to mean handing over your resume. Remember that? These days, some prospective employers are asking the applicants to hand over their Facebook and Twitter passwords. Yikes. So they can see what their potential employees are really up to.
I don't know about that. Do we have the right to keep our social media lives private? We wanted to ask that of our good friend, Professor Jeffrey Hancock, who's chairman of the Information Science Department at Cornell University. Good to have you here with us.
Good morning.
Now, we know that anything we put online is there, and
Right.
anyone
Anything.
can find it no matter how protected you think it is.
That's right.
But knowing that what you put online is there versus giving someone you don't even work for yet your passwords, there's a big difference there. Is it even legal?
It's not. And
We don't
you're right,
like
there is
that
a
idea,
difference.
No,
Professor.
can you tell?
I'll speak for Erica. Can I, Erica?
Yes,
We don't
please.
like that idea.
I am completely with you guys on this one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We can set our friendship privacy levels on there to keep it private. But then if you have to give up your password, what's the point?
But
right?
can they legally ask us to do that? That's what I'm saying. Can they legally ask you to do that?
No, absolutely not. And so what these institutions, so for example, the Maryland Department of Corrections, they were asking for the password for prospective employees. And they were looking for gang signs, for example. So they had a reason that they thought was a good enough reason. I don't think it is. And when they were told they can't do that anymore, they do something called shoulder surfing. So they actually watch over the shoulder of the applicant while they look through their Facebook profile. And they're saying it's just voluntary, but whenever there's a power differential, you can't say it's voluntary because you want the job really bad. Of course, you're going to do things that they ask of you, but no, it's not okay.
And then, but I would think if I'm applying for the job and they say, look, it's going to be held against you, I would think it's going to be held against me if I don't turn it over. That's why I'm wondering, do we have any legal recourse, or you have to say, suck it up and say, yeah, I'm going to do it?
Well,
Or how about this, Jeff? How about if you do it and then change the password after you get the job?
I was thinking too.
Well, you can certainly do that. I mean, you absolutely, definitely should do that because the person could access it.
But
I think
legally,
you can
they
say
can't
no.
ask.
That's right.
That's the main thing.
But it also sets a precedent too. If you were to give up access, if you were to give up your password, even if you changed it later or set up a different page, it really does set up a precedent in terms of the relationship you would have with your employer.
Yes.
That's right, absolutely. And it would have sort of a chilling effect because if you realize your employer or some other authority is going to be monitoring your social media, you're going to be really careful about what you say on that social media.
And what's leading to this? Why do they think it's okay?
I think it's because it's new and that all these things that we did in private before, there's now a record of, and it's tempting. They are like, wow, here's a new way we can find out information about our employees. But just because it's social media doesn't mean they can access it.
Right. There's another issue that's come up, and I have to say this came up in my own family. When my dad died just under 2 years ago, all of a sudden on Facebook things would pop up, and have you talked to Steve lately?
Right.
Which is a little disconcerting for a lot of people.
Right.
So there's actually, I know, been a movement to change that so that loved ones don't have to deal with it. And there's been some push to even sort of make this a part of an estate.
That's right. So there's a new law that's coming out where they're trying to make this part of the digital effects or part of your estate. And we've done some research on this. So what are happening on these profiles of people who have passed away? It's really fascinating. We see people sharing stories about loved ones that have passed, about expressing their condolences, and even, in some cases, talking directly to the person that had passed away as if they were there. And this is what we call front stage grieving or public grieving. We usually do this at a funeral or a wake. But if
That's
you're not
something
near,
you initiate, though. It's different if you initiate it.
That's
Right.
right.
Wasn't that very upsetting
it was
to the
nice
family?
to see things that people had posted about it.
Yeah.
It was very nice. But then at some
But-
point, you start seeing these reminders. You haven't talked to
Right.
Steve in a while, and you say, well, yeah, I know I haven't talked to him in a while.
Right, and Facebook had to really...
I mean, my mom took it down. She had the password.
Yeah, and they really had to work on that because people were getting recommended, maybe you should be friends with
Right.
Steve. And so now in a Facebook profile, when Facebook's alerted that somebody's passed on, they'll memorialize the profile, which means it won't go into these systems where they
Good.
get recommended and things
That's
like
Which
that.
is nice. A nice
So they caught the problem.
Yeah.
They
Thank
caught
you.
the problem, yeah.
Always good to see you, Professor.
You too.